If you watch this channel, you know I'm a big fan of Corsair keyboards. I'm also a fan of the build quality on their mice. Unfortunately, while I commend them on trying new and interesting things, I found the mouse shapes to be hard to aim and not too comfortable. But now they've made the glaive, which is a very familiar shape, and with the Corsair quality, what's going to turn a fair few competitive FPS and MOBA players away is the weight, coming in at about 120 grams. It's too far beyond the usual 100 grams, and the aluminium version is even heavier at 127 grams. So make sure you choose the right one. Some people do like heavier mice though, so this is for them. And it is a big mouse, so maybe the extra weight is a good thing. The weight distribution does seem good though, it's fairly well balanced. The shape really is comfortable. Here's a tour of the design so you know what it looks like. The left side is the most interesting, as you can choose from one of 3 grips. If you want to have a thumb rest, you can. The slight thumb rest option is fairly comfortable too, but I prefer having a flat side, so I use this one. They're just held in by light magnets, and have rubberized textures. They feel really good, but the design does create an issue with the side buttons. Maybe it's something we would have to get used to. It just seems awkward to have a gap like that. I'm used to resting my thumb and then just slightly moving it up to get to the buttons. I mean, they're usable, but to me, this is the unsafe part of the mouse. The buttons just don't feel comfortable. The travel is okay though. Looking at the right side, it's a fairly flat surface with only subtle curves for comfort and grip, and again it has rubberized textures. Personally, I prefer the other side's texture though, the flat one, but it still feels pretty good in game. And the top is a nice big rounded area with slight comfort grooves in the buttons. It feels great with the rubberized texture, but that means we question durability, but other than some oil marks, it should last well enough. And Corsair are usually good with quality, so I'm hoping it will be durable. So the mouse is a combination of high quality plastic, rubber and metal. Metal is nice quality wise, but I don't think it's worth the extra weight. And just quickly, the mouse feet are large and they glide smoothly. The cable is about 1.8 meters long, braided and a bit stiff. It's fairly smooth, it's just lacking flexibility. It wasn't an issue in a mouse bungee while in game though. So I still really like Corsair quality, and in my opinion, this shape is the best of their range so far. I'm just not sure if the target market will want that weight. If your hands are large enough for this mouse, let me know what you think in the comments. So you know the size of it, here it is next to the Zowie FK2, a small medium mouse, and a Razer DeathAdder, which is a large mouse. It's definitely closest to the DeathAdder size, but because of the flatter shape, it actually feels bigger. The button slope is gradual and the hump is toward the middle, which means it should be usable in all grip styles just depending on your hand size. For measurements, the grip width is about 6.5 centimeters, the length is about 12.5 centimeters, and the height is about 4.5. With roughly 18 by 9 centimeter hands, this mouse is very comfortable in palm grip, but I usually base the measurements on aiming ability, and this mouse is too big for me. By the 60% rule, it should be ideal for hands that are about 21 by 11 centimeters, but anything over 20 centimeters should be pretty good. People with really big hands, this could be the mouse for you. Overall, it might be the biggest I've used so far. Moving on to the buttons, here's a listen to each. Left and right feel great, light but with some resistance. I'm hoping heavy fingers don't have accidental clicks. Mouse 3 is fairly tight to press in, but that's normal, and there isn't much resistance on the scroll steps. Actually, this doesn't feel as good as the other Corsair wheels. Fine for browsing though. Side button travel isn't too bad, and they're okay, but could be better. And the DPI button may get in the way, but otherwise it's good. In the latency testing compared with the G4 03, they are almost identical. Very responsive, you shouldn't be missing shots because of button latency. And I had no problems using multiple buttons together. The sensor is the 3367, Corsair's version of the 3360, so I'm expecting a top performance. No problem rocket jumping, and I can't make it spin out, even when I move it as fast as I can. However, this is interesting. If I use the tilt slam test at a high lift-off distance, it can be made to spin out, as you're seeing now. But then if I go into software and set the liftoff distance to low, I can't make it spin out. So if you suffer from tilt slam on your 3360 sensor, I suggest setting the liftoff distance to low. Most are set to low by default, so it should be okay. Zooming in for the sniper test, it tracks pixel by pixel and smoothly, tested at 400, 800 and 1600 DPI. Not a perfect test, but it doesn't seem to have acceleration or deceleration. The liftoff distance is just under 1 DVD when set to low, and about 2 DVDs when set to high. That's on cloth and hard pads. And I can't seem to feel any delay on the mouse, so the sensor seems responsive. Testing the 360, it actually seems faster at 400 and 1600 DPI than the G4 03 by 1cm and 3cm. So I suggest measuring your 360 before switching to this mouse. In the line test, there's no jitter, angle snapping, or skipping. The lift-off movement is good, but not great, and there's no lens or sensor rattle. That's a solid performance by the 3367, but could be slightly better on the lift-off movement. Build quality is good of course, but when tapping it, I can hear a slight rattle somewhere. And when shaking it, it becomes obvious that it's the wheel. So again, that's not their usual quality. It uses the Corsair software, which can be a bit complicated. You can store one profile on it, you can assign various commands to the buttons, including macro, which will detect everything from the mouse if you set it that way, as well as the keyboard. And it gives options for text, remap to keyboard or mouse, media, and a couple of others. The lighting effects give you the standard Corsair modes, and rainbow mode is smooth. Also, you can make your own in advanced. You can set 5 DPI levels from 100 to 16,000, and that's in increments of 1. You have low, medium, and high for lift-off distance, and you can calibrate it to your mousepad if you need to. Now here are some highlights while I give my conclusion. This is my favourite shape from Corsair so far, and it seems to be one of the few mice really suited to big hands. Given that's the target market, I hope that the weight is right so it becomes a top mouse. Everything about it is really good, but there are some minor exceptions of course. If you think this mouse is your star, then it should be high on your list of considerations. So it's down to personal preference and if you want a large mouse with a bit of weight to it, and if you think the side button area is okay. Hope that helps. Special thanks to Corsair for sending these out for review, and if you want to help support the channel, I'll leave the usual links in the description. And as always, subscribe, share, and like this video, and I'll catch you in the next.
Narrow